morning, guys. It's me, Serenity. It's like 5 in the morning here in California, and usually I'm like knocked out by now in dreamland, but I've been having so many dreams, visions, and divine revelations that I felt it pivotal to come on here and spew my heart out to you guys, and to give a message more than anything. It's not about just breaking my heart out, because yesterday I did a video on karmic loops and time loops, and I was basically just like venting about my own karmic patterns that I was playing out. But not that that's not helpful, but I just had so many like downloads that came through, so divine and so much more conceptualized in a way that makes sense, that I want to reframe it basically. So I was watching Black Mirror, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I've seen this episode before. It's called Hang the DJ, and it's basically about how life is a simulation, and then we go through this dating game. It really is a game. This whole thing's a game. Like, this whole thing is a matrix. Like, it almost makes me want to cry because it seems so fake, but there's real things in it, like true love, and true love for self, true connection with divine source, and sometimes it takes the catalyst of our twin flame to tap into that true essence of love, so that we can be our truest versions. Because if we become our truest versions, we don't have to incarnate here and come back here again. We keep coming back here again because we keep getting caught up in these loops, and all of this karma, and things get so messy, and then we get so confused on who we are and what we want, that we just get stuck here. And people in society knows that, people in power know that, and they want to keep people stuck. That's why they keep perpetuating like songs and stuff, and they want to have the mainstream music and stuff, and mainstream movies and everything perpetuate negativity, because they want us to believe that that's true and that's how we should behave. And it's so not true, it's so not it, and everybody's like chasing fame, and it's like that's not the answer. It's because you want attention and you want love. But anyways, that's besides the point. Okay, so in Black Mirror, they were all in the dating game, and they all had to date a certain person for particular periods of time to learn lessons. I don't know if that was the point of the movie, but they had to learn lessons through each other so that they can finally meet up with that one true love, that one true person. And the game was rigged because I believe they were setting up people that weren't meant for each other. And it's up to us to realize who's meant for us. It's up to us to tap into what that true feeling of unconditional love is, what that true feeling of home is that we felt before. And it gets kind of tricky because sometimes these karmic partners feel like home, but they are home because we experienced these karmic cycles in other lifetimes, so then we're still at that vibrational frequency to attract that person into our lives, no matter if they're toxic or emotionally or physically abusive. We just kind of welcome them into the door so we can keep experiencing that pattern over and over again until we get into our souls, get the lesson, get the message that we are worthy enough and we have enough self-love within ourselves to stand up for ourselves and not put up with that, and open ourselves up to experience a higher vibration and align with something deeper and more true and more pure. But we have to go through them to understand that. But we can get stuck in them if we don't realize the pattern that we ourselves are perpetuating, and that our families have perpetuated, and so we feel like that's the norm and that's what love is, but it's actually not. And so within Black Mirror, they ended up meeting each other first. It was their first time in the dating game, and they met each other for the first time, and they just felt so comfortable with each other, and so just in a space of comfort. They didn't even have sex that night because it wasn't about the sex, but with all the other partners, they had sex the first night. Like, it was about the conversation and about the genuine and sincere desire to just want to be in each other's company and share space with one another. And that's beautiful because it's so rare. Like, on so many occasions I've dated guys and I couldn't wait to freaking have sex because I'm like, help me feel something. I don't feel anything from you. Let's have sex so we can feel something. That's how I feel passion and desire. Like, that's how I feel attraction, because I don't feel anything. I feel, not that I felt empty inside, but they weren't making me feel anything that I couldn't feel myself. Let's just say that. And so within the movie, the TV show, they would be dating these people, and you could just tell they just weren't in it. Their hearts weren't in it. No one's hearts were in it. Like, everybody's hearts were closed off because they just weren't the one for them. And so towards the end of the dating game, right before they were about to meet up with their one match that the system created for them in this simulation, they had the option to meet up with one person to kind of reconcile and just talk. And of course they chose each other. And in choosing each other, one of the counterparts, the lady, she threw her, because they were attached through the simulation, they were attached to a kind of a gaming system, it seemed like, where you could press the button and accept or whatever. You communicated through a gaming system, which is a part of the simulation. You communicate through your consciousness, and that's a part of the gaming system. So she ended up throwing hers in the water so she could be detached from that, and she just agreed to meet with the guy. So when they met up, she was like, don't you feel like we've been here before? Like, we've done this before, over and over and over and over and over again? And it's like, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel home until I felt that experience with you. And it's like we just have to rebel against what the simulation is telling us that we need to do, and follow what our hearts desire for us to do. And that takes a lot of courage. It's like you have to be a rebel for love. You have to fight for what it is that your soul truly desires to experience, so that you can expand. And so I could cry because it's just so beautiful. It's like, it's a depiction of a twin flame relationship. Like, you find your flame, your mirror, who mirrors back to you what's really happening. And it was the woman, the divine feminine, who came to the man and said, does this make any sense to you? Like, do you feel like you've been here before? Like, why is it that we feel so intensely for each other when we've been dating all these people and we didn't feel anything? Like, what is this? And he agreed eventually. And then they ended up getting up from the table, and then everybody saw that they were moving differently. And then it activated for all of the drones, everyone that was sleeping, to kind of look like, oh, they're acting shifty. But they're not acting shifty. You guys are acting shifty because you're sleeping. You're just following orders. Like, no. And so they got up, and then immediately the energy shifted in the room, because it shifted to love frequency and rebellion against that which is not true. And so then the security guard came over and tried to attack them, basically, and get them to sit down and comply. And then the woman just kind of put her hand up towards him, and it was out of love. It was out of, like, I'm on a mission to do something else here. And he couldn't touch her. He couldn't touch them, because when you have that frequency of love, you know that nothing is against you, nothing is personal. It just is what it is. And so the love frequency stopped that fear force, if you want to call it that. And so they were like, we just have to forget about the system and go on and jump over the wall. We don't know what's there. It's unknown. We have no idea what is going to happen, but we have to see what's over there, because this is not true. This simulation, this simulated reality, this matrix is not true. These avataric bodies are going to disintegrate at some point. And so we have to follow what feels true to our hearts inside. And for some people, that's staying in those karmic patterns. And for some people, that's murdering people. And for some people, that's doing unspeakable acts. But that's their karma that they're playing out, because they're stuck in this pattern. And what you realize, then you come to this profound awakening, is you have a responsibility under your belt to do something out of the norm for your highest good. And when you do it out of example for your highest good, you give others permission to do it out of their highest good. And so they proceeded in climbing over the wall, and as they climbed over the wall towards the top, all of the simulation disintegrated. It all became black. And then they ended up in this space where there was, like, in the matrix, where there are like green grid lines everywhere, and there's just black space and green grid lines, and then they were seeing other people coming together in union, divine masculine, divine feminine coming together in union, realizing that this is a simulation, connecting with the essence of true love so that they can go higher and ascend into what they're meant for. Oh my gosh, guys, we've done this before. And I just feel so sad because I know my twin doesn't know all of this information right now. And I know I'm going to have to step into my own truth alone, which I've had to do mostly this whole path as a divine feminine. And it's hard to break those patterns when you're the first one to do it, like in your family. And you just want that support, but you know that that love is always there because you guys could never be separated. If you guys have done this before, and you guys have always been one, then therefore you can never be separated. So I know that I'm never alone. It's just, you know, when you're in this physical body and you feel duality consciousness, it gets confusing. But you know, when you tap back into your spirit and your heart, you know that separation is not true. It's just gonna take some courage on your part. And I remember there's one thing that my twin told me that will always stick with me, because his higher self comes out sometimes, and I know that he's younger, so it's gonna take him time. He has to go through these karmic lessons like I did. And I know when he came into my life, I immediately shattered. My relationships. And my relationship with what I thought was with myself. It was like an internal suicide to awaken into this truth. And it was painful, and I feel like that's what he's going through right now. And I just want to be there for him, but I know that he has to come to these realizations by himself. Like, you can't force any information on anyone. Everyone has to come to the realization on their own so that they can feel the conviction to step into their the conviction to step into their true authenticity and their true self out of their own conviction. And so, back to Black Mirror, after I had this crying session, once they got into that space, that all black space with the green grid lines, they looked up and they saw that it said 100 rebellions complete, 100 simulations completed. Mind blown. Like, that is a true story, and people are just watching stuff as if this is all fictitious. This world is fictitious, and that TV show is non-fiction. It's telling us what the heck is going on here. But you have to be awakened to it within yourself to see that, because we only see what we're ready to see. And so, after it said 100 rebellions complete, 100 simulations complete, they both merged. Their essences merged. They disintegrated and their essences merged, and then they shot up into the ethers, back into divine source. And then they were at a party, and they looked into each other's eyes. Like, they had similar bodies, but they were in a whole nother dimension. It looked regular, like a regular place. They looked at each other and they just knew, like, we did it, we get out. And I just can't wait for that, for me and my divine masculine. And I know it's gonna take time. And I feel proud of myself for stepping into this position and taking the lead in a certain sense in the spiritual aspect, because I know to some degree my twin is awake spiritually. In fact, I had a dream the other day where it was just like a bunch of random visions that occurred. It was like two chameleons merging into one. So it was like a rainbow of colors merging into one, two animals merging into one spirit. And there was also a part where he said, we should be queening. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I have no idea what. And then like, I don't know, a week later, I saw on his Instagram thing where they post pictures and it lasts for 24 hours. I don't know what it's called. I'm not really a technology fiend. I don't know what be going on. I just use it from time to time. But on his thing, a picture that lasted 24 hours, it was the first time he ever posted anything related to spirituality ever on his public platform ever. Even though it was still behind the scenes, it was the first time that he had the courage enough to speak out what he wanted and what his truth was. And he's getting there. Guys, be patient with your divine masculine, or be patient with your divine feminine who's holding divine masculine energy. Be patient, okay? They're taking baby steps, just as we sometimes need to take baby steps in certain aspects of our lives. Maybe sometimes we need to take baby steps in the material aspect of the world, because they are trying to get a hold of that in their divine masculine, and we are taking the reins spiritually. So the yin and yang thing is operating seamlessly. And so, what was I saying? So yeah, on the picture, on the 24-hour lasting picture, it said Queen on there, and the crown chakra was opening, and there was a beaming light coming out of it. And it also mentioned some things about, like, I need my queen to be woke, to be, you know, the Ebonics term for awakened. And so he wouldn't say that if he didn't himself feel like he was awakened inside. And so when you feel awakened inside, you know that you can't tolerate anything less than awake. And so it's a reflective thing. And so I felt so elated to know that he's stepping into his truth in that way. And then it helped me to step more into embodying the spiritual wisdom that I have gained throughout this path, and have the courage to put it forth into the collective, because that's what twin flames, light workers, star seeds, indigos, earth angels are here for, is to is to embody that love essence and embody that spiritual wisdom, and share it with the world, because people are ready for it. People are in need of it. They know that this isn't it. They know that this isn't all. People are feeling empty inside, and they want wholeness, and they want that love that you have. And sometimes when they see that love that you have, they get jealous, and they want to take it from you. And there's forces that try to come in and take it from you. But just like in that simulation, no, we are protected by a shield of love and light. Nothing can get us nothing can truly hurt us, because we know that it's not possible. And let me say one more video clip where I watched one more TV show that I watched from Black Mirror, which was called San Junipero. And there was this woman who was like a party animal or whatever, and then there was this Caucasian woman that she met at the bar who was kind of geeky, and she just wore glasses, and she was not like all the others who were just like wilding out and just drunk or whatever. And she was like, wow, there's something different about her. She was like, ooh, I want to have sex with her, because that was her initial thing to do. And that's I see myself in certain people. Like, that's what I used to do when I was younger. I was like, ooh, there's something about them. I want to experience them sexually so I can connect to them on a deeper level. But it's not always about the sex. It's about learning lessons through each other. And that's why I feel like the soul is attracted to certain people, because we resonate at certain frequencies. And so we are attracted and magnetized towards them, because we're waiting for something to be, we see an aspect in them that we want to be birthed in ourselves, or that we want to awaken to in ourselves, or that we want to die in ourselves unknowingly, so that we can awaken to our true selves. Whether we know this or not, it is happening. That's what attraction is. Unless you're just mindless and you're unconscious and you're just having sex with whatever, whenever, however, and that's fine too. There's no judgment here, ever. I'm just speaking from my perspective. And so, in the show, they had sex together, and then she ended up talking to her, and she felt nothing but purity and love for her. And immediately after having sex with her and having that deep connection, okay, actually, let me go back. So, she initially was coming on to the Caucasian lady who was kind of geeky or whatever, and then she didn't know how to handle it, because she's like, nobody ever comes up to me, you're very attractive, like, you have a lot of high energy, you're so opposite to me, like, I'm not going to be what you expect, why are you even coming after me? There's no way you really want me. And so she ended up leaving for like a week because she was like, I can't deal with this. But then she ended up gravitating towards her again because it was meant to be. It's kismet. Everything is happening how it's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen, in divine timing. Everything is orchestrated divinely. So she ended up seeing her again, and then the other girl felt rejected because she's like, nobody ever rejects me. Like, I look delicious. I'm a snack. I'm a full meal. What are you thinking? So then they ended up getting together that night, and they had sex, and then they connected on a really deep spiritual level, and they talked about some really personal things. She talked about how I just saw two birds flying together. See, me and my twin are coming together. Spiritually, we are together, and he knows it. Okay, so I be getting so sidetracked when I think about my twin. So yeah, she told her the pretty girl. It doesn't matter about these avatar bodies. I'm just trying to help you see who's saying what and who's doing what. So the pretty girl told the girl with the glasses or whatever that she lost her husband and stuff, and so that's why she parties a lot. She lost her husband and her child, and her husband and her child. Anyways, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because there's a plot twist and it's beautiful. So anyways, they had sex or whatever, and it was magical. They basically made love. They didn't just have sex. So that opened her heart, and she's like, oh my God, I don't want to feel anything. I didn't come here to feel anything because I felt something once and I lost it all, and it was painful. It was so painful. And I feel like that's what happened with me and my twin. I really feel like, I know I keep saying this, but I haven't had any validation outside of myself besides some symbolism that one of us killed each other, one of us didn't choose each other, and we kept playing out this cycle, and the other person was grief-stricken, and now we're scared to do it again because we know what happened. But we don't have to replay that cycle. We can elevate and do something different, but it takes a lot of courage and a lot of caliber of heart, but we're gonna get there. But that's what my twin said. I don't know if I said it. He said, sometimes I can't respond to you at the caliber of heart for which you're speaking to me, and that's why sometimes I block you or I'm not able to speak to you because I don't know how to respond. I haven't felt this kind of way before, and that's really stuck with me. It takes caliber of heart and courage and a level of rebellion against what you think you want to go towards what is destined for you and what your heart desires. So back to the show. They made love, and then so the hot one ended up leaving. She left for like a week, and the other girl was like, wait, where did she go? We had this magical experience. Why did she leave? What's happening? I feel abandoned. So then it's just like abandoning, blocking, scared, fear, and that's how the twin flame thing goes. Like, that's a twin flame relationship too. It was a woman and a woman, and it so turned out that even though she dated that man in the past life and had a child, she actually had always looked at women and wanted to date women. Her true self wanted to be with the soul of a woman, so she was playing out what she always wanted to play out, and she got scared because it was actually happening. Beautiful, right? And so it turns out that both of them had already died. I know, right? Both of them had already died, and they were in this simulation space where both of them were in a coma, and they went to this space where their consciousness could live on, but their bodies would die, but they were going into another realm of existence. And so we end up finding out that the girl, the girl that was nerdy or whatever, she wanted to date a woman in her past life, but it's so loud over here. Like, every time I feel like I'm saying some really important information, the world wants to get loud and try to block me out, but I'm not gonna stop. So, okay, it's quiet now. Okay, no, it's not. Okay, so okay, so the girl, wait, what am I saying? So the girl in a past life, she wanted to date a woman, and then her parents were like, no, that's not right. Like, why would you want to date a woman? Like, everybody needs to be quiet and stop trying to force their opinions on other people. It has nothing to do with you. If nobody's trying to kill anybody, why are you judging so much? Like, why do you care so much? Do you want to date a woman? Like, I don't get it. I'm so confused sometimes. Anyways, her parents were like, no, that's wrong. You're bad. Like, whatever. And so she ended up getting in a car accident and killing herself by accident because she was in such rage. And so anyways, so they both wanted to be with women, so they were actualizing their dream life together, and in that state of consciousness in their avatar bodies, because these things are false. But anyways, they're not false, because we feel sensation, but they're temporary. They're ephemeral. And so they ended up having to make a choice. It's like, are we going to choose each other and choose true love, or we're going to let these past hurts and these past fears and these past pains dictate our lives, our consciousness consistently, and stay stuck in these karmic patterns and let these soul ties stay melded to our souls, impacting the trajectory of our lives and the ascension that we were destined to experience. Are we? Are we? I'm talking to myself too, because sometimes I'll be like, I'm a twin flame. Oh my God, this is beautiful, but it's excruciating because I have to like kill off a part of myself willingly. Like, wow, that's a lot. So it was a lot of back and forth, and it took for a separation for the pretty girl to come back and really tell the Caucasian girl why she didn't want to choose her, because she didn't fully tell her the whole story. But then sometimes it takes that separation and that distance from the other person to realize how important they are, and realize come to the realization that this is actually what you want. And it takes that separation to burst through those emotions and get to the truth, so you can really realize and become consciously aware of what is actually going on and what's actually happening. I hope my mom didn't lock the door. I ran upstairs to tell this story, and my mom might have locked me out. Okay. Okay, so, and in the midst of them trying to figure out if they're going to be together, after the black girl told her that you don't really understand me, like you don't know how much pain I went through, like I wanted my husband and my daughter to come here because the daughter died, and then the husband was really, really distraught, and he said, I want to be with the daughter, so I'm going to choose her over you. And she felt so abandoned and so hurt and so dismayed and so confused and so sorrowful that she was like, you know what, I'm not going through this again, because she was basically left alone. She said 35 years with that man, or a number of decades, I don't remember the exact number. She was basically telling the Caucasian girl that I really don't care about race. Also, I'm just using this so you guys can understand what's happening. The nerdy girl, I'll just say that. She was telling the nerdy girl that, you don't really understand how deep this pain goes when you commit yourself and sacrifice yourself. And that's another thing. She felt so bad because she sacrificed so much of herself for someone that wasn't actually meant for her. That wasn't her twin flame. So it's like we're all living in like an elusive delusion. Like, what is happening? This world is crazy. Okay, so I didn't even realize that. Epiphany. So she ended up, after she spilled out her feelings, she played out a pattern that the dorky girl played out in her past life. She got in her car and drove off, and she was trying to kill herself though, because she was like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I just want to die. Like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to make this choice. I don't want to make this decision. And so the twin flame path has that push and pull, that tug of war, that tension. And it's necessary to break you open completely to what is truly meant for you. And so, she did end up dying, and then the girl came over and she asked her, she tried to grab her hand and she said, come with me. And the beauty of the story is they got together and they were twin flames. So it's just so beautiful to see depictions of twin flames, and I wouldn't say mainstream because that's not mainstream, and in pieces of art, because then you're not, because sometimes I'm like, am I delusional? Like, am I obsessed? But as I said in one of my previous videos, I am obsessed with self-mastery, and through this mirror image of me, of my soul, we also look kind of similar, which is interesting. I don't know how that turned out to be. Through this mirror image of my soul, I can really see what's going on inside of me, so I can use it to my advantage and the collective's advantage and me and my twins' advantage, and it's for everyone's highest good always, all the time. Like, Yes. So, but me and my twin are not talking right now, but it forced us to open ourselves up even more deeply to who we truly are. And that's why the twin flame journey is about ourselves and birthing our authentic self. And it kind of helps us get out of those negative patterns of codependency and attachment, where we feel like we need this person, and if they don't come through how we want them to, then they are bad, then they are wrong. But as I said earlier, nothing's personal, and I have to get out of these cycles myself, because I've been through them, and I've been through in codependent kind of relationships, through the standard 3D relationship, but this is a 5th dimensional consciousness relationship, and it's only for those who see it from that vantage point that are going to experience this kind of expansive, deep love. And through this time, I've been able to just connect all of my soul ties. It's like there were so many things tied onto me, so many strings, and I was able to pull them all off. I'm not attached to any of my karmics in any way, in any shape or form. I don't want anything to do with them in a romantic sense, because when you've tasted and you've touched true love, when you've tasted divinity on someone's lips, when you've received proof that divinity exists and can exist through the embodiment of a person, why would you downgrade and settle for a cyclical pattern that you went through on endless lifetimes? No. We are here to ground all of the information that we received in other lifetimes into this 3D conscious awareness. We're just experiencing it from a higher level now, so that we can really see what's happening. We're kind of observers of it all. We're not lost in it and enmeshed and immersed into all these patterns that are playing out. All I can keep saying is patterns. Like, when you know what the patterns are, you can crack the code so that you can get to the end game. And the end game is the beginning of a new game, of a higher awakening, a higher level of ascension. It's never the end. It's always the beginning of something new. Even if you don't know what's going to happen next, even if you are scared or fearful, it's always birthing into something new and something better and brighter if you align with that frequency of love, and you align with that frequency of positivity, and you align with abundance and prosperity. It is already yours. Things are already happening time is simultaneous. Everything that has happened is already happening now, and everything coalesces into the present moment. It's just up to us to tap into what's happening. That's why we can have these visions and be connected to the past and the future whilst in the present, because all of time is happening simultaneously, and we can experience it and tap into it through our subconscious minds. All of the metaphysical stuff, all of the woo-woo stuff is actually real. And that's what made me disconnect from one of my soulmates, is because I just realized he had said woo-woo, and it just kind of put a sad face on mystical stuff. And I think he's here to ground all of the information that he got, that he has, into material form. The point is, he's on a different mission than me. He's aligned with something different. And as far as one of my other soulmates, he tried to come back into my life just yesterday, and he said, you should come over, I have a beach house or whatever, because he knows I love the beach, and he's trying to play on my emotions. But I already see what he's doing. Like, I don't need you to go to the beach. I'm a sea nymph. I can go to the beach whenever I want. I basically live at the beach. I probably had a past life at the beach. Like, you don't even know, okay? You don't even know. You don't even know. So then I started asking him questions. I'm like, so... And usually I don't even ask questions, because I just let people do them and live their life, whatever. But I asked him, so do you date a lot, or do you like to be alone? And he was like, oh, I have a couple female friends that I like to date. I'm not saying anything's wrong with this. I just asked him questions that I like to date or whatever. It was a tiny moth. And I was like, oh, so you mean friends with benefits? Because people be trying to dance around the truth. I'm like, let's get to the point. Like, what? Tell me the truth so we can get in this conversation. Time is of the essence. So, and I'm like, okay, so you have friends with benefits. intimate partnerships. And he was like, yeah, I sleep with them from time to time. It's nice to have female friends. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I was like, that's great that you get to share intimate time with a special lady. That's really great for you. With special ladies, that's really great for you, but no. And then I said, so, okay, so have you ever been in love? And he was like, sure. And when he said sure, like, the type of love that I experienced through my twin flame was so ineffably incredible that I can't even put words into it. I'm writing like endless poetry books about this love, the depth of the love that I felt through this mirror image reflection of me. And I asked you if you've been in love, and you said sure. But it's not judgment, it's just that I see that we're aligned with different paths, and there's no way that we can continue connecting because there is no connection. I was aligned with him when my frequency was that I didn't know who I was, that I didn't know who I was, and that I was trying to find myself through other people. And this man is like 45, so I had been wanting to talk to him to see, like, is that good? How's my life going to be when I get that age? If I continue at this rate, I'm going to be just continuing to spread the love and not have my own cherished, beautiful partnership with a divine counterpart? No, I'm not accepting that. And I felt so empowered because for once I spoke my truth. Usually I just block people and I just leave. But that's not the answer, because there's still lingering soul ties and lingering reconciliations that have yet to be made. And so in that moment I told him, you know what? As I said earlier, it's beautiful that you get to share your love with special ladies. That is lovely. And you are a wonderful man, but I was drawn to you during a time where I was trying to find myself. And I did find a piece of myself in you. But I'm looking for a true love with one man, one heart, one sacred heart. And sadly, our paths aren't aligned anymore. Yes, we had beautiful experiences, but I'm going to have to detach from this connection because it no longer serves my highest good. I have to align with what my heart desires. And it felt so good to step into my power and to say that and to know what I wanted for once. Because on many occasions, I would just keep my mouth closed at the expense of sacrificing my own self for someone else's comfort, but no more. No longer will I be doing that because I'm living and breathing in my true self, and it feels expansively wonderful. And you can do it too. And we were meant to come here and heal through all of these blockages and cut all these soul ties and end all of these perpetuated patterns. And it's up to us to realize and then take action to move forward to make that change and make even just the littlest of shifts towards the life that we desire and that we see fit towards our ascension, which is inevitable. It's just up to us when we choose to tap into that and move with that force of life. Let that force of life move and breathe through us in such a beautiful momentum. And it almost becomes effortless once you start doing it. And it feels so good to get that off of my chest, because I know that the collective needs to hear that message, and I know that we're all going through similar shifts right now, and I know that it's nice to see someone else living and breathing in the space that you want to see yourself living and breathing, because it's inspiration and it gives you proof and validation in a sense that you can do it too. So guys, you can do it. And if no one's told you today, I love you and I'm proud of you for where you are, as you are, and all that you are destined to become, and the timing that is meant for you to become it. Although society will make you think that you need to rush through life and do this and do that, there is no time stamp on anything. Everything is unfolding how it's supposed to, by divine design, in the most beautiful of time. So be patient with yourself Be gentle with yourself as you grow through this process of spiritual awakening. And you are strong enough to do whatever it is that you desire. You are strong enough to step away from that relationship. You are strong enough to step into your power and not let someone else drain you of your power because they haven't tapped into their power. And not power in an egoic sense, but power in a heart-centered sense, where you've stepped into your truth and you're living and breathing from the essence of love because you've embodied it. So I send you guys endless love and light. And I have deep compassion and reverence for each and every one of you who are connecting with me in this moment in time, because it was kismet and it was meant to be, just as every synchronous happening that is unfolding within our lives. Pay attention to the little things. Pay attention to the symbolism, especially if you're not in contact with your twin. Continue to know that you guys are connected. You could never be disconnected. Continue to stay in the moment, because there are always others who are placed on your path as light workers who need to see that reflection of light in their darkness. You don't have to settle in your darkness because you're so-called separated from your twin, because there's absolutely no separation, and there never could be, and there never will be, and there never was in the beginning. Because how would you guys have been looking for each other how would you have known each other existed if you didn't want to know that it was? Because it always has been, and it always will be eternally. So blessed be, my beloveds. The sun has arisen. There's luminosity in the skies, and there's luminosity within your beautiful heart. So let it shine, beautifuls. Have a blessed day. I'll put my contact information in the description box below if you'd like to connect. And I wish you all a truly magical day. Bye-bye.